Over the Moon is a movie that caught my eye as I was browsing Netflix. As someone who is Asian, it's rare to see animated movies about Chinese mythology, so I was really quite curious and I had no idea what to expect. Overall, I thought the movie is enjoyable and competent, but there are issues that prevent this movie from being more impactful. This movie uses the Chinese mythology of Chang E to tell a story about a girl, Fei Fei, who learns to cope with the loss of her mother. Fei Fei was constantly told of the love story of Chang E and Houyi by her parents, and so when Fei Fei's mother dies and her father remarries, Fei Fei is upset because she feels that by remarrying, her father and mother's love is not eternal. So she has an adventure on the moon to prove to her father that Chang E is real in order to prevent her father from remarrying. The first 30 minutes takes place at Fei Fei's hometown on Earth, and it is exceptional. The environment has the feel of traditional Chinese architecture. I especially like the depiction of the Mid-Autumn Festival. The atmosphere feels authentic to Chinese culture. They make mooncakes, they have a great feast for dinner, and they talk about Chang E's story while the full moon is out. Look at how well the food is animated. The main characters at this point are Fei Fei, her father, her stepmother, and her stepbrother. I like the dynamic between the stepmom and Fei Fei, as the stepmom wants to get close to her stepdaughter, but Fei Fei doesn't want any of it. It's a situation where I can empathize with both parties, and it is this conflict that propels Fei Fei into building a rocket ship to fly to the moon in order to find Chang E. Up to this point, I was really getting into the movie, but sadly, the rest of the movie isn't as strong. Fei Fei finds Chang E and takes a picture with her to prove that she exists, but Chang E will only give the picture to Fei Fei in exchange for the gift. Fei Fei doesn't know what the gift is, but she goes and searches the moon for it. She eventually finds it by accident when she starts eating the mooncake that her stepmom made for her. The gift turned out to be the other half of Chang E's amulet, and it was lodged inside the mooncake that Fei Fei was eating. This was such a confusing moment for me because they did not once mention the amulet before this, so it just comes out of nowhere. I even rewatched the movie to make sure I didn't miss anything. Not only that, they don't explain why it's in the mooncake. Did the stepmom put it there? Or the stepbrother? Why is the amulet piece in the mooncake? Where did it come from? It's strange that such a pivotal part of the movie is so poorly established and explained. So Fei Fei gives the amulet piece to Chang E. Chang E is able to reunite with her love, Houyi, but only for a brief moment. Chang E is devastated that Houyi has to leave just as quickly as he appeared, and so she enters the Chamber of Exquisite Sadness. Fei Fei follows her there. They both cheer each other up, and Fei Fei returns home. One of Fei Fei's character flaws is that she cannot accept her stepbrother, Qin, as part of her new family. So when Qin stows away on Fei Fei's rocket to the moon, I was expecting more exploration of their relationship. Maybe they would have to work together to overcome a challenge. But no, the story has them split up for the majority of the time on the moon. This just seems like a wasted opportunity. There's a scene where Qin challenges Chang E to a ping pong match, where the winner wins the picture. But Fei Fei never even learns of this heroic act, so what's the point of this scene? It's a cool spectacle to watch, but it serves no narrative purpose. So when Fei Fei finally does accept Qin as her stepbrother near the end, it feels unearned. So with her stepbrother not present for a good chunk of the movie, maybe we would at least explore Fei Fei's character. But sadly, that is lacking as well. There really isn't any character development during Fei Fei's search for the gift. We get a little something when she follows Chang E to the Chamber of Exquisite Sadness. They help each other move on, but it's all done through talk, so it's not convincing at all. It's actually a bit confusing. First, Houyi tells Chang E to move on, and Chang E asks how before he disappears.
I cannot stay. You have to move on.
But how?
Then Chang E tells Fei Fei to move on, and Fei Fei asks how.
You have to move on. But how?
These scenes happened minutes apart, with all characters present for each scene. So when did anyone learn anything about moving on? Most of Fei Fei's experience on the moon is just not relevant to her learning to move on from the death of her mom, so her drastic change at the end of the movie comes off as strange. My last biggest disappointment with the movie is that it just doesn't go deep into the mythology of Chang E. After finishing the movie, you hardly learn anything about Chang E's story, only that she and Houyi were separated after Chang E drank 2 immortality potions. Why did she drink 2 immortality potions? Why were they separated? Why is Chang E on the moon? It's a shame that for such a famous story of Chinese culture, only the most surface level details are touched on. Overall, this movie is adequate, but it feels like there's a lot of wasted potential. Parts of the movie are really good, while other parts feel confusing and pointless. It's a movie that I probably wouldn't choose to rewatch, but if it was on, I wouldn't mind watching it. Its quality is good enough that I would be excited to watch any new movie that this studio produces.